I was still groggy from my surgery when my 8-year-old son came into the room. He quietly closed the door and then the curtain around my bed. "Dad, we need to hide," he whispered, handing me his tablet. The nurse just showed me a video she filmed. We crouched under the bed as footsteps approached, and he gently put his hand over my mouth. The room smelled of antiseptic and sweat. My chest still throbbed where the stitches pulled. I should have been half-conscious, drifting into the safe blur of morphine, but my son's voice anchored me. "Dad, we need to hide." His hand trembled against my lips. His eyes, wide, afraid, far older than 8 should ever look, left no room for questions. He slid the tablet toward me. I pressed play. The screen showed the nurse, my nurse. She wasn't tending to me. She wasn't checking vitals. She was filming. And in the background of her whispering video, I saw my wife, standing close to a man in a black suit, too close. Her hand brushed his arm. He smirked. The camera pulled back just enough for me to hear the words, "Tonight, he'll be too weak. You handle the boy." The tablet went dark. My son's hand tightened on mine. Footsteps, heavy, closing in. We slid under the bed, the sheets hanging like a shroud. My heart pumped harder than my failing body allowed. The door opened. Silence, except for the wheeze of my own lungs. I pressed my son against me. His little hand stayed over my mouth. Smart. Smarter than I ever gave him credit for. And I knew then, this wasn't confusion. This wasn't exhaustion. This was betrayal, carefully timed, perfectly staged. And I would not die here, not like this. Morning light cut through the blinds when I finally dared to move. My wife returned with coffee, her smile rehearsed, hollow. "How are you feeling?" My tongue pressed the inside of my cheek until I tasted blood. Better, a lie. She kissed my forehead, too soft, too careful, as if kissing a stranger. I watched her hands, the way she adjusted the blanket, tucked me in, hovered like a nurse instead of a wife. The smell of his cologne lingered on her, not mine, his. The seed had been planted the moment my son handed me that tablet. Now it rooted deeper, splitting open everything I thought was whole. A marriage wasn't undone by one night, one word, one touch. It unraveled slowly, thread by thread, until silence replaced intimacy and smiles became masks. I replayed the video in my head while she fussed with the flowers. He'll be too weak. Not just infidelity, not just betrayal. This was orchestration, a plan, and my son, an obstacle they hadn't accounted for. I asked myself the question no husband ever wants to whisper into his own skull. How long had she been lying to me? I played patient, weak, obedient, sedated. She thought I couldn't stand long enough to reach the bathroom unassisted. She thought I couldn't think past the fog of medication. But the mind sharpens in pain. The body learns discipline when it has no choice. At night, when she slept on the chair beside me, I stole her phone. I searched messages, photos, deleted folders. Nothing obvious, too clean, which meant she had help, the man in the black suit. I noted every call she took outside, every hushed tone, every tight smile when she returned. I bribed an orderly with cash folded into a bandage packet. He brought me printouts of visitor logs, timestamps. One name repeated, twice a week, Michael, no last name. My son clung to me when she wasn't looking. He didn't speak of the video again, but I saw it in his posture, the way he stiffened whenever she leaned too close. He knew. Children always know, even when they don't have words for it. One evening she left early. "I need to get some rest. For tomorrow. For tomorrow." The nurse stayed late. She hummed as she checked my IV. Too cheerful, too precise. I followed her reflection in the window, the way she texted without looking down. I memorized her badge number. Then I called in a favor from someone who owed me more than his life was worth. Phone records, DNA tests, a surveillance pull from the hospital cameras. Piece by piece, the puzzle began to arrange itself. She wasn't just unfaithful. She was gone long before I opened my eyes after surgery. And Michael, the man in the video, wasn't just her lover. He was blood. Not mine, my son's. The envelope came 3 days later, slipped beneath my dinner tray. White, unmarked. Inside, results. DNA, irrefutable. Michael wasn't just her lover, he was my son's father. 8 years. 8 years of lies dressed as love. I stared at the paper until the letters bled into each other. My pulse slowed. The storm settled into something colder. When she arrived that night, smiling with store-bought flowers and carefully rehearsed devotion, I slid the paper toward her. "What's this?" Her hand trembled before she even opened it. She read. Color drained. Lips parted. "Where did you—" I raised my hand. Silence. Her breath caught. Panic widened her eyes. I didn't move. Didn't blink. The truth suffocated the air between us. And in that silence, I saw her break. The next morning, I asked her to help me walk outside. She looked grateful, relieved, as if the previous night had been a bad dream we could bury under sunlight. She wheeled me toward the courtyard, hands trembling against the chair. Michael was waiting. He stood by the fountain, suit immaculate, expression calm. I pressed another envelope into her hand. Court documents, fraud, conspiracy, medical malpractice tied directly to her nurse accomplice. Every detail recorded, every timestamp matched. Her knees buckled. Michael reached for her. I looked at him once, a single glance. Enough. He froze. Then I spoke for the first time since revealing the truth. "You were sloppy." The words cut sharper than any scream. I stood without her help, muscles shaking, but strong enough, stronger than she expected. I left them there, her clutching the papers, him staring at me as though I'd already buried him. Because I had. My son sat by my bed that night, drawing with broken crayons. His small shoulders relaxed when I touched his hair. He didn't ask questions. He didn't need answers. He just needed me. And I was here. Still here. Not because of her, not because of them, but in spite of them. I signed the discharge papers the next morning. My wife, ex-wife, didn't come. Neither did Michael. They were occupied. Court summonses don't wait. I left the hospital walking on my own legs, my son's hand in mine. The air outside was sharp, clean, mercilessly honest. For the first time in years, so was I. Betrayal is a wound that never heals. It only scars. And scars are reminders. Reminders of what I survived, what I uncovered, what I walked away from. She thought she buried me on an operating table, but I buried her instead. Quietly, completely, forever.